Welcome back. In this video, we're going to cover a few things like changing our Pi's password, its hostname, the location that it thinks it lives in, i.e. the time zone. We're going to expand the SD card partition, and we're going to update the Pi to the latest version if available. So let's jump right into it. To start with, what we're going to do is change our Pi's password. First, we're going to log into our Raspberry Pi by going sshpi at raspberrypi.local, and we're going to type in that default password, which is just raspberry. Once we've signed in, we're going to go sudo raspi-config. And this will bring up a configuration menu for our Raspberry Pi. We're going to select the first option, which is change password for the current user. It'll warn us that we're going to be asked to enter our new password, and then we're going to simply type in a new password that we'd like to set to. I've successfully changed my password, so I'm just going to hit OK. Great. Now what we're going to do is change the hostname of our Raspberry Pi. Again, I'm going to exit out, and you basically just run Raspberry Pi config again, except this time you're going to select network options. From within this menu, you're going to select hostname. It'll warn you that you can only use ASCII characters A through Z or digits 0 to 9. What we're going to do is we're going to name our Pi Autobot, because it's going to be the Autobot that manages our house. We'll hit OK. And now that's done. Next, we're going to set the location option or the localization options. Again, you will have to type sudo raspberry config to get back to this menu, and then simply select localization options, change locale, and then what you can do is find the country that's applicable to you. Now for me, I'm just going to leave it as the default that it came with, because I'm happy with English US, but if you'd like to install the locale for your country, feel free to do that. Finally, what I'm going to do is expand the file system. In order to do that, I'm going to go to Advanced Options, I'm going to go Expand File System, and it's just basically warning me that the file system will be enlarged on next reboot. What this effectively does is if you have a 32 gig SD card, it'll expand that entire size out so you can use all 32 gig within the root partition of the SD card on your Raspberry Pi. Finally, what we're going to do is reboot the Raspberry Pi. In order to do that, we're going to go Finish and hit Yes. I'm just going to clear the console, and we're going to give it about 90 seconds or so for it to come back up, and then we're going to reconnect to it. Let's go ahead and reconnect to our Raspberry Pi. We're going to run SSH pi at, and then we're going to, instead of using raspberrypi.local, we're going to type the host name that we assigned, which is just autobot.local. We'll be prompted on whether or not we want to accept this key, and we'll go yes. Then we'll type in that new password that we set. Fantastic. Now the last step is we're going to install the latest updates for our Raspberry Pi. In order to do that, we're going to go sudo apt-get update y. This will go through to the official repositories and check to see if there are any packages on the system that need to be upgraded. Once that's done, we can go through and upgrade those packages if they exist. We can do sudo apt-get upgrade, and Y just stands for accept all prompts that might prompt for yes or no. In our case, there were some packages that need to be updated. Once that's done, we're also going to remove any packages that might be left on the system that we no longer need. In order to do that, we'll do sudo apt-get auto remove. And it will show us the packages that it's going to remove, and we're just going to hit yes. While this step is not necessary, it's sometimes recommended, as it will clear up things that we basically just don't need anymore. Once that's done, we'll clear our console, and we're going to move on to the next step. I'll see you in the next video.